Hi, everybody. I'm excited to introduce you to Front, the AI-powered customer service platform for TMCs. Front gives TMCs a unified workspace for every traveler and client conversation across all channels, email, SMS, WhatsApp, and more, in one shared view. So whether it's handling a traveler's urgent flight change, coordinating with suppliers, or collaborating internally across travel consultants and operations teams, Front keeps everything connected and transparent. Front AI starts smart and learns continuously from every client and traveler interaction. It helps TMCs respond faster, surface key context automatically, like PNRs, loyalty info, or policy details, and scale personalized service safely from day one. Front is also easy to configure and adapt. No IT tickets or consultants needed. You have full control to fine-tune your workflows, automate repetitive tasks, and design the perfect traveler and corporate client experience as your business evolves. With Front, TMCs can 1. Centralize communication across agents, clients, and suppliers. 2. Reduce the manual work through smart automation and AI-driven insights. 3. Maintain high-touch, personalized service even as volume grows. And 4. Collaborate seamlessly across operations, finance, and account management teams. Here's a quick look at a few of the 100 TMCs worldwide that we're proud to partner with. So a quick agenda for the webinar today. First, we'll explore the current state of the TMC customer service process. Then we'll shift to what's next. We'll give you a quick product overview, and then Jack will take over for a live demo. So what does the ideal traveler customer service experience look like? There's been so much change in the consumer market and the corporate market. AI means there's a new bar for service excellence. So with that in mind, what does this traveler customer experience look like? Whether it's the initial point of booking your trip or wanting to make urgent changes when it's nearing your travel date, you don't want a rigid process or to be second guessing how to best get in touch with your TMC. So that's why TMCs need to be able to offer fast, reliable, and personalized support no matter how or where your clients contact you. However, the reality can be very different. Customer information lives in different technologies that don't speak to each other. Agents are forced to toggle between multiple systems, leading to inefficiencies, delays, and ultimately a less than ideal experience for the traveler. Front is empowering TMCs to provide consistent, high-quality service regardless of how the customer chooses to communicate. All this is consolidated into a modern, intuitive platform that enables businesses to deliver five-star customer service at scale. Unlike legacy help desks, where it takes 10 clicks to get something done and the end user experience feels impersonal, Front enables exceptional service without the need to increase headcount. So, how do we do it? One of our key capabilities is a way to connect to any backend system like a booking management tool. This allows agents to get traveler information instantly right within their workspace. All the relevant details are at their fingertips, enabling faster and more personalized service. Agents can provide information about hotel location, confirm or cancel bookings, and draft up custom responses with one click. Check your hotel, your location, canceling bookings, etc. The power of Front really shines with Front AI. This is different from other solutions in the market because it starts smart and keeps getting smarter. We learn from every customer conversation in real time and help you scale safely from day one thanks to our three-part AI framework: analyze, automate, and assist. We start by mapping what your customers actually ask from all your conversation data. Then we assist your travel consultants with ready to send on-brand replies. And finally, as time goes on and confidence increases, you can choose what to fully automate and your customer service never feel the AI learning curve. So, The first part of this framework is around being able to analyze conversations. So we do this by understanding why your customers reach out and organize those contact reasons into topics. When a new message comes in, Front AI will label them with a topic if it contains a known inquiry. You can use these topics to power Front's rules and analytics to help your teams automate workflows and gain insights on important issues. Smart QA accelerates time-consuming manual QA processes with AI, giving leaders a complete view of team performance without the need of manual reviews. And Smart CSAT in combination with manual CSAT survey submissions gives a complete understanding of the customer satisfaction. These automated scores can be used to supplement a lack of data from manual CSAT submissions and provide a more normal distribution of scores. The second part of this framework is around assisting. So we want to significantly boost the productivity of your team, but respect the traveler still wants to speak to a human where necessary. Copilot provides immediate context-driven recommendations, ensuring agents can respond efficiently and effectively. Compose helps draft responses quickly and accurately, and Summarize condenses long conversations into key points, saving valuable time. And the last part of the framework is automate. Autopilot can automatically respond to common customer questions based on your past conversations or helped content. You can also preview its performance at a topic level and decide which topics you trust it to handle, so you understand how it will perform before it sends a single auto reply. And the great thing about it, it's omni-channel, so you can use it across email, front chat, SMS, WhatsApp, customer portal, etc. For more complex and nuanced inquiries, you can use Autopilot playbooks. Autopilot playbooks give you flexible, repeatable workflows that map directly to how your team operates. Playbooks give you two additional advantages that go beyond simple auto replies. One, playbooks are AI workflows that can adapt in real time based on context, tone, account information, and more. You can use natural language to make these workflows flexible, human aware, and handle sensitive situations the way you want. Two, playbooks let you precisely guide replies. So instead of hoping an AI agent writes the right thing, you give Autopilot exact instructions. An example being, if we identify a customer's travel days within 72 hours, the instruction might be send the message acknowledging a customer request and that is being treated with urgency. Autopilot then sends a reply that reflects your guidance. So, by empowering agents with all of the information at their fingertips and AI at their disposal, Front allows the TMC to deliver a superior travel experience to travelers. The impact: our data shows that TMCs using our platform are more effective, process trip requests significantly faster, and deliver superior travel experiences. This all leads to an 87% average CSAT score. And with that, we will hand it over to Jack, who will go through a live demonstration of the platform.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Joe. All right, so what I'm going to do here is share my screen. So bear with me one moment. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. What I want to go through is, I suppose, a demonstration of Front and touching on all of the points that Joe has made. What we are looking at here is my web browser. Front is accessible in three ways, the first being through web browser, the other being as a desktop application, and the third being through a mobile app for either Android or iOS. Here I'm showing it in the web browser. And you'll see upon logging into Front, the first thing to make note of is on the left-hand side here, this workspace sidebar. And I want to call out a couple of key components here. Firstly, towards the top, we have here what we call the individual workspace. And this is, as the name suggests, an environment where you as a individual is operating outside of, or inside of rather. So from within here, you can connect your corporate email address to Front. You can handle client communication and effectively use Front as your email client. But you'll also notice that there's this assign to me and subscribe to me section. And this actually links to what we call a shared workspace where you're working as part of a wider team in a collaborative environment. So you'll see down here, I have a shared workspace called Travel Pro. And within this shared workspace, I've got various different inboxes, all with different names that I've decided to call them ahead of this demonstration. An inbox in front is really just an empty container. And the idea then is you control who has access to those inboxes, various teams and users, and you also can control what channels of communication are plugged into those inboxes. So for example, Front is obviously an omni-channel solution. I want to show you a couple of the channels in which we would natively support. So you'll see here we've got a reservations inbox. Clicking in there brings up a conversation list. We call them conversations because they can originate from a variety of different sources, email being one of them. And I can see two emails here, one from Michael and one from Sarah. You'll also see that I've got an inbox here called chat. So we can also incorporate live chat into Front. So for instance, here, if I navigate to a website and I interact with the chat widget, and maybe I put in some information here as so and send this away, what we'll actually see now within Front is the chat coming through as well in a moment. So we're actually capturing information as well from the front end of the website. We'll wait a moment for that to actually come through as well. I'll just say new booking, that'll send it through. And we should see that being created momentarily. Whilst we're waiting for that, we'll also move into the WhatsApp section. You'll see here with WhatsApp, what we can also do is we could, for instance, query. So I'm doing this from my WhatsApp client, and that query will come through, and we'll actually see in a moment this WhatsApp conversation coming through there. So there we go. We've got a WhatsApp conversation with a couple of tests that I've done in the past as well. So the reality is within Front, there is a whole, you'll see a whole host of different chats from the website coming through. There's a whole host of ways for your clients to communicate with you. Now, it's not just limited to email, chat, or WhatsApp. There is indeed a large variety of different channels that we would plug into and support passing customer comms into Front from. And for anything that is not listed here as well, we also have what we call custom channels, which allow you to build your own custom or bespoke channels with other systems your businesses may be using to communicate with your customers. So the first thing really to kind of be familiar with within Front is the concept of an individual and a shared workspace. How inboxes can be plugged into various different channels. You can have one or many channels feeding into a specific inbox, and also understanding as well that we can control who can see what and who can do what. Now, a very common thing we'd see within the travel space is for our users to structure their inboxes like this. In this case, we've got inboxes for different clients. We may have inboxes for different teams that we'd work with internally, or we may just set up standalone inboxes for the different channels in which we would converse with individuals with. So if we go back for the purposes of this demonstration moving forward, I'm just going to focus on the email channel. I want to point out a couple of really useful features. So you'll see here, of course, if we had a long list of conversations, clicking through will cause the conversation details to change here on the right-hand side. So that's very familiar behavior and something that would be very common in any sort of tool that you'd be working with. If we take a look here at Michael Chen, you'll see right now that this conversation is in what we call an unassigned state. So just there, it's unassigned, and that means that someone can take ownership of this conversation. To do that, I can, on the right-hand side, choose to claim ownership here manually, or I could allocate this to a member of my team if I'm operating in a managerial capacity. Or we could also set up a rule to facilitate some automation, which would hand the sign off of this conversation to a specific user. So an example would be maybe if we're integrating with our CRM and this individual has an account manager, maybe we want to automatically hand off to the account manager. Rules can facilitate that. And we'll look at an example of a rule that does that momentarily. But for now, I'm just going to claim ownership of it manually. And you'll see when I do that, it's taken out of this unassigned queue on the left, and it's now in this assigned space. By clicking on the Assign tab, I can see what is assigned to me. And The idea here is that any teammates with access to this reservation inbox can come in here at any time and they can look at what is assigned to them, but also what is assigned to their wider team. So they could filter by the different assignees and see what Joe is working on, see what Jack is working on, and maybe get involved in the conversation or pick up where Joe left off if he's out of office, for example. At any stage, because you can imagine this gets quite noisy, if they want to just look at exclusively what is theirs, the top left-hand side, they've got this assigned to me section, and clicking in there basically just allows you to click through any conversation that's been assigned to you, and that's surfaced in your individual workspace. So clicking back into the conversation here that I'm having with Michael Chen, you'll see that I am the assignee. It's currently open. And what we can also do is we can choose to tag this conversation. Now, tagging in front is really just a way of making sense of information within the system. So what I mean by that is if I click to add a tag, we can actually just choose from a list of tags and categorize conversations as needed. And this can be then used to structure and organize the information within our system. You can also set up rules to add these tags, or you can indeed set up rules that will trigger based on tags being added. So for example, maybe an urgent tag being added to a conversation, and you would have a rule to escalate that to the appropriate team, let's say. So we can manually add tags, but we can also automatically add tags. What our system also supports using our AI tools is the ability to actually define topics as well and associate those topics with conversations. So rather than relying on manual tagging by your users or by rules to tag based on specific things happening or changing, you can actually use topics or AI to understand the context of the conversations coming through into the various different inboxes from the different channels connected. And AI will then tag those in the form of topics. And you can see here an overview as to how that's displayed. What we can also do, if we'd like, is we can enable, using our autopilot feature, for certain autoresponders to go out based on the topics that have been identified. This, of course, is optional, but it is configurable nonetheless. So Front is a very, very powerful tool with a huge emphasis on driving efficiency using automation and rules and also AI. I'm going to jump back into my conversation here. We've looked at assignment, we've looked at tagging. A couple of other things as well that I would like to point out. So you can see here, if I want to respond to Michael, I can click reply, and you'll see a little composer appears for me, and I can begin to write up my message. I can also utilize AI to compose a response based on the thread, the conversation that I'm having. So there's a lot of tools that can help expedite my workflow. Now, before getting back to Michael, I may choose to actually loop in my colleague Joe. Maybe he's on the finance team, and I want to get some clarity on something to make sure that I facilitate Michael's request correctly. So you'll see down towards the bottom here, I can actually mention or tag my colleague Joe into the conversation, and I can say, can you help? I'll share that with them. And now what you'll actually see is Joe has become a participant in this conversation, and we can see that he's reading this conversation right now. And we'll actually see in a moment there, Joe is responding to me. He'll let me know that he's able to assist. And then I'll be able to respond back to Joe and tell him that I appreciate the help or something like that. So we see Joe's typing away, great, and I'll give him a little thumbs up. So this, we call them comments. These are internal only, so customers can't see these, but they allow you as a team to collaborate and converse internally in the flow of conversation and share information in real time to ensure that you're facilitating your clients' requests in a timely and an orderly fashion. The other piece that I'd like to touch on as well is you'll see if we go back to Michael's original message that some of the information in the email he sent to us is hyperlinked. So you'll see here where we've got Oscar Foxtrot Romeo 638. We can actually hover over this. We can look at some information that does not live in Front. It's being pulled in from an external system. And Joe alluded to how Front can be integrated with various different third-party systems, both proprietary and bespoke systems. Here I have integrated with, if I click through here, sort of a back end that I have made. It's platform agnostic, but just to simulate how all of this would work. And you'll see now I'm in a very different system to Front, but I'm looking at all of the booking information relating to Michael Chen and his flight from New York to Los Angeles. Going back to the interface here in front as well. So that's accessible to me at any time. And if I want to click through and edit it, I can. What we're also able to do is take this a step further. And you'll see on the right-hand side, we could actually embed um, our system directly within Front's UI itself. So I don't have to click away from Front. And this can be built using what we call our plugin SDK. Now, just to show you an example of this, clicking into Michael Chen's record, we can see Michael has 2 bookings with us. We can see this one here, the Oscar Foxtrot Romeo booking. And I can click in here and I've got all of the information that I need to hand, and I can, maybe view the flight map, update his seat. It really just depends on the nature of the system that has been plugged into Front. Again, this is a platform agnostic demonstration. This is just a backend that I've mocked up for the purposes of this demonstration, but technically it's sound. The same principle would apply regardless of the integrating system. You just need to ensure the appropriate APIs exist so that we can interface with said system. So there's a lot of ways that Front can actually plug into your existing tech stack and ensure that your agents and users have all of the information they need to do the best job that they possibly can. I spoke a lot as well about how we can drive automation using rules. And you'll actually see, if we look maybe at Sarah's conversation with us here, we can actually look at a couple of rules that have been applied to Sarah's conversation. Now, rules in Front allow you to drive automation and work on working as a more efficient team. But we can actually look at a thread of the rules that have run when Sarah reached out to us, and I'll break these down one by one. So you'll see, first of all, we've added a tag VIP guest because Sarah has been registered as a VIP in our system. So as a result, a VIP tag is added, and we may escalate this, or we may apply a different reply time goal or something like that. We give speedier responses. That's precisely what's happened here. We've had another rule here that has said, well, because Sarah is a VIP guest, we're going to apply a specific SLA for our VIP customers and ensure that we're within that SLA. You'll see right now we have 12 minutes left to meet this reply time goal. So we are still operating within that SLA. Sarah's flight information was added by the custom integration that I referenced earlier with Michael's booking. But what we've also used is we've used some of our autopilot feature to actually tag based on whether the date is 3 days from now, and tag this message as urgent. So Sarah is traveling in the next 3 days. She mentioned that she is traveling tomorrow, in fact, on October 14th. So AI has detected that that is within that 3-day window. And as a result, we've tagged this as urgent. And what we've also done is we've drafted a response using our autopilot. We can send this automatically if we like, or we can have some human intervention to check this before we send. But this has been set up to respond to Sarah based on her inquiry. So how did all of this work? So clicking into Front's backend here, you'll see here we've got our rules section, and we give you a variety of templates to work off of. You don't have to start from scratch. You can also integrate with other systems using rules and our connector framework. Or if you'd like, you can start from scratch and create linear or branching rules. Some examples of rules, and indeed the rules that were applied to the conversation with Sarah. So you'll see here we've got a VIP customer SLA rule. What we're doing here is we're defining a reply time goal within or outside of our business hours. And when we receive a message from a customer in one of our inboxes, it could be any or all of our inboxes, we're checking to see if they're a VIP. This information would be fed through from the CRM. We can see if they're a VIP customer, and then the SLA will trigger. What we can then do is, if it falls out of SLA, we'll add the appropriate tag. We can notify members of our management team, but we can also add an optional warning to say if we're potentially going to breach the SLA. So 15 minutes before we hit that SLA, let's add this warning tag and notify the respective members. So we really can ensure nothing's falling through the cracks, and we're doing everything we can to respond in a timely fashion. Another example of a rule, and a very common one we see is routing to account managers. Again, this information would be passed in from a CRM, which would remain your source of truth. But what we can do here is when we receive a message in one of our inboxes, we can actually look at whom the account manager of the contact is in our system, and we can then assign this to the individual. So this is done dynamically in real time as we receive communication. And you would have recalled earlier at the start of this demonstration, I took a manual action to assign it to myself, or I could have assigned it to Joe. This is a much more dynamic and scalable way of assigning and routing conversations to members of team, in this case, the appropriate account manager. But the really, really interesting one as well that I wanted to show, which touches on the AI piece, we can create rules with various different branching logic. So here, for example, we want to check to see if they're traveling in the next 3 days. What we've done here is we have our trigger when we receive a message. And what we do is we branch based on whether the date is 3 days from now or not. To show you then what would happen off the back of that is if it is within this 3 day window, we perform a variety of actions. Firstly, I add a comment to the conversation to provide some context to the end users. I add the appropriate tags, urgent and upcoming trip. And then I'm using our autopilot filter to basically respond to the customer. I'm using natural language to prompt autopilot and tell it how I'd like to respond to this customer. So saying, respond to the customer, letting them know we understand the urgency and we'll reach out shortly with an update. We can also create this as a draft, which I've done, or we could actually disable this and the response will just go out automatically. So this can be configured based on however you need. So using Front's rules and our AI features, autopilot, you can really create a very well-oiled machine and ensure that nothing's falling through the cracks and you're responding to your customers in a timely fashion. The final thing I want to touch on as well, just to tie all of this together, is that everything within Front is being tracked. And what this allows us to do then is leverage our powerful analytics dashboards. So from within here, I can access a variety of different dashboards that would all give me various different metrics. And the intention is I can make insightful decisions as to the direction of where I want to go with regards to the business. Do we need to allocate more staff at certain times of day? When are we busiest? When do we experience lulls? Are we working inside, outside SLAs? A variety of different things. Now, admittedly, when it comes to demoing reports, it's very much reliant on the data that exists. This is a demo environment, so the data is it's not as clean, if you like, as it could be. So these results, these metrics are a little bit skewed, but just to keep that in mind. The first thing I wanted to touch on is what we call a live dashboard. So this live dashboard updates every 20 seconds, and it gives you a temperature check and overview into the status of all of the different inboxes that you have set up within Front. We can look very easily to see, what's open, what's waiting, maybe what hasn't been assigned yet to members of our team, and how old or how long someone's been waiting for a response. So as I mentioned, 362 days, obviously not what you want. But this is in a real production environment that would not be the case. We certainly hope it wouldn't be the case. We can also see here on the right hand side a breakdown of our workload by different teammates. And then the idea here is, as a manager, team leader, I can make informed decisions and route things to the appropriate team, and ensure that no one is maybe taking on more than they can handle, and I'm distributing the work fairly. Some other dashboards too. We've got a workload-based communication dashboard. This one updates a little less frequently. It's about every 90 minutes. But what this allows you to do is look at maybe the times of day you're busy, workload over time, peaks and troughs with regards to new conversations, responses coming out of Front. What you can do as well with all of these dashboards is filter based on certain date ranges. You can break it down by the different inboxes you manage. You can filter based on specific teammates and or teams. We can break it down even further. We could just look at specific channels. Maybe we want to look at WhatsApp versus Facebook, let's say. We can look at specific accounts. Accounts are basically the organization that the contact is associated with. So we could look at very customer focused dashboards. We can break it down by tags. And then also you'll see here topics, these AI topics that would have been identified based on the information within Front. There's quite a lot you can do to filter down here. All of this information, if you'd like, can be exported, so you can work with it offline in an Excel or similar. Some customers will even have integrated Front's analytics into a BI tool like Tableau or Looker or Power BI. That's certainly possible as well. And you can also schedule these emails for delivery. So people within your organization don't have to go digging for the numbers. They can receive a report at whatever cadence you like. All the information as well within here is interactive. So I can click in and actually look at the specific conversations that are going towards these metrics. And depending on the dashboards I'm looking at as well, I can control or modify the different metrics I'm looking at. So maybe instead of looking at busiest time for new conversations, maybe I want to look at the busiest times for messages being sent out. So when is the busiest time for my team responding versus receiving messages, as an example. There is a whole host of other dashboards in here. Maybe the last one I'd touch on, just out of a point of interest, is our satisfaction, our customer satisfaction dashboards. The reason I wanted to touch on this is because you can take two approaches. So you'll see here, we can look at metrics as it pertains to a customer satisfaction. Now, I'm just going to say this year to date, see if we have any data. We may not. Let's just see. Okay, we have some. So we can look over a given time frame, and after we've interacted with a customer, we may ask them to see how we're doing. They could give us, 5 stars. They could give us 1 star, and then they could give us various comments. The reality is, people don't always interact with this. So what we've also done is we have created inferred CSAT. We call it Smart CSAT, and this uses AI to basically detect how the conversation was handled and whether the customer was happy. And you'll see a couple of examples here of AI inferred CSAT scores based on the interactions they've had with our teammates as well. So this can really just help close the loop in the interactions you're having with your customers and ensure that your team are doing the best job they can and your customers are having the best experience they can with your team. So I hope this was a helpful demonstration just to give you a taste as to what's possible with Front. And appreciate we got into the weeds a little bit, but hopefully you leave this with a little bit more information as to how Front works, and it gives you some interesting things to think about and ways that you can use it within your own organizations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jack, for going through that. And yeah, thanks everybody for taking the time to watch this. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you found this session valuable and that you leave with a few actionable insights to take back to your team. So until next time, take care and thank you for watching.